In this video, I'm going to be comparing the cost of living expenses between Australia and Nigeria. But before we get into this comparative assessment, it is important for you to know that the prices of things, goods, commodities, and services vary in different cities in different countries. For example, someone who is living in Abuja and someone who is living in Lagos or Akwa Ibom, Nigeria, will have to pay different amounts for the same goods and services. And that also applies to a place like this, I mean, in Australia. Sydney is more expensive than where I am. So we have to keep that in mind when we are doing this assessment. But for this particular one, I'm going to be doing the assessment for the two places I've lived. I've lived in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, in Nigeria, and I've lived here, Brisbane, in Australia. So my comparative assessment will just be between these two cities. So if that is something you're interested in watching, sit back and enjoy. So the first thing we are going to be talking about is petrol. The cost of petrol here in Australia, Brisbane, is ranges between $1.8 to $2.1, and so I'm just going to set it at $2. And the price of petrol in Nigeria is around 620 naira per liter. So when we convert that to dollar, we have it at 1.13 Australian dollars. So the second thing I want to talk about is rent. The rent varies, of course, we know that, but I'm going to be saying for a standard room here in Brisbane, you can get it at a cost of $230 per week, and that amounts to $11,960 per year. So the cost of rent in Nigeria, Uyo specifically, most places go for $150,000, 150,000 naira per year, and I'm talking about a self-contained apartment for single people. Yeah, so when we convert that to Australian dollar, it's going to be giving us 272 Australian dollars. Now, the cost of groceries in Australia is around, for a single guy, please remember, this is just for me, okay? For families, it's different, but for someone, for one person, it goes around $350 in a month. It can be higher, it can be lower, but if you eat as much as I do, it's going to be around $350 or even higher. But let's just keep it at $350 in a month. Now, the cost of food in Nigeria, I mean, in Uyo, that will be able to sustain a single person, one person, should be around 40,000 naira per month. And when we convert that to Australian dollars, it's going to give us 72.72 Australian dollars. The cost of traveling by air, I've traveled from Uyo to Lagos, and I've also traveled from Melbourne to here. The cost of traveling from Melbourne to Brisbane and vice versa is around $120, but of course, we have to keep in mind that the prices can change based on when you book the flight. So I'm just giving you guys a rough estimate. So now, the cost of also traveling from Uyo to major city in Nigeria like Lagos or Abuja is around 70,000 naira. It also depends on when you book the flight, you know that. So, but we are going to pay it at 70,000 naira. And when we do the conversion, it's going to give us $127. Now, the cost of haircuts in Australia, let me be honest with you guys, that one is very, very annoying. The cost of haircuts in Australia, where I am currently, is around $60 and maybe a little bit higher if you want a particular style, you know. But in Nigeria, you can have your haircut for as little as 700 naira, and that amounts to $1.27, Australian dollars, of course. Now, the cost of transporting yourself, maybe to and fro work, or maybe going for important functions, visiting friends in a month, in Australia, Brisbane can amount to approximately $50 because, yeah, the bus services are really, really cheap. But if you have to use maybe convenient services like the Uber and the Didi, you know, of course, it's going to shoot up. So this is just for buses. Let's say you are taking buses everywhere you are going. So I don't think you're going to be spending more than $50 in a month unless you want to travel from Brisbane to Sydney by bus. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just mean little travels around the city to go do important stuff. So that should be around $50. Then the cost of traveling around Nigeria, maybe going to work and stuff like that, should also be around 7,000 naira in a month. Remember, this is a rough estimate. It can be higher and it can be lower. So let's use 7,000 naira in a month should give us around 12.72 Australian dollars. Now, the cost of fees, school fees, university school fees in Australia ranges from $13,000 to $19,000 in a semester. So for the purpose of this video, let's peg it at $16,000 in a semester. While the cost of fees, university education in Nigeria ranges around 80,000 naira in a semester. Well, I mean, I pay cheaper, but I just had to peg it at 80,000 because I'm trying to factor in the current, economy of the country. So 80,000 naira in the semester should give us around 145.45 Australian dollars. Now, let's talk about the minimum wage between these two countries. The minimum wage of Australia is around $2,400 in a month, while the minimum wage of Nigeria is around 30,000 naira in a month. That amounts to $54.54 in a month, as against $1,200. I'm sorry, as against $2,400 in a month here in Australia. So now, which country do you think has a better standard of living um, based on the prices of these essential goods and services I just provided in this video? Please give your answer in the comment section below and let me know what you think, okay? Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm going to see you guys next week. So till then, have a nice time. Bye bye.